Find more questions and study at your own pace on our website. The link will be in the description. Let's get started. Question 1. Your web application has been running successfully on Cloud Run for Anthos. You want to evaluate an updated version of the application with a specific percentage of your production users. What should you do? Option A. Create a new service with the new version of the application. Split traffic between this version and the version that is currently running. Option B. Create a new revision with the new version of the application. Split traffic between this version and the version that is currently running. Option C. Create a new service with the new version of the application. Add an HTTP load balancer in front of both services. Option D. Create a new revision with the new version of the application. Add an HTTP load balancer in front of both revisions. To perform a canary deployment on Cloud Run for Anthos, you should create a new revision of the application with the updated version. Then, you can split the traffic between this new revision and the currently running revision. Revisions in Cloud Run for Anthos allow you to manage traffic percentages, facilitating a smooth evaluation of the new version without creating separate services. Question 2. You want to set up a Google Kubernetes Engine cluster. Verifiable node identity and integrity are required for the cluster, and nodes cannot be accessed from the internet. You want to reduce the operational cost of managing your cluster, and you want to follow Google recommended practices. What should you do? Option A. Deploy a private autopilot cluster. Option B. Deploy a public autopilot cluster. Option C. Deploy a standard public cluster and enable shielded nodes. Option D. Deploy a standard private cluster and enable shielded nodes. Deploying a private autopilot cluster ensures that the nodes are not accessible from the internet by default, fulfilling the security requirement. Additionally, autopilot clusters have the shielded GKE nodes feature enabled by default, providing verifiable node identity and integrity. This option also aligns with reducing the operational cost of managing the cluster as it leverages Google's managed services, which simplifies management and maintenance tasks. Question 3. You are creating a Google Kubernetes Engine cluster with a cluster autoscaler feature enabled. You need to make sure that each node of the cluster will run a monitoring pod that sends container metrics to a third-party monitoring solution. What should you do? Option A. Deploy the monitoring pod in a stateful set object. Option B. Deploy the monitoring pod in a daemon set object. Option C. Reference the monitoring pod in a deployment object. Option D. Reference the monitoring pod in a cluster initializer at the GKE cluster creation time. To ensure that a monitoring pod runs on each node of the cluster, you should deploy the monitoring pod in a daemon set object. Daemon set ensures that all nodes run a copy of the specified pod, making it ideal for monitoring tasks that need to be performed on every node, such as sending container metrics to a third-party monitoring solution. Other objects like stateful set, deployment, and cluster initializers do not guarantee that each node will run a copy of the pod. Question 4. You are working with a Cloud SQL MySQL database at your company. You need to retain a month-end copy of the database for 3 years for audit purposes. What should you do? Option A. Set up an export job for the first of the month. Write the export file to an archive class cloud storage bucket. Option B. Save the automatic first of the month backup for 3 years. Store the backup file in an archive class cloud storage bucket. Option C. Set up an on-demand backup for the first of the month. Write the backup to an archive class cloud storage bucket. Option D. Convert the automatic first of the month backup to an export file. Write the export file to a Coline class cloud storage bucket. To retain a month-end copy of the database for audit purposes, you should set up an export job for the first of the month and write the export file to an archive class cloud storage bucket. This ensures that you regularly export the necessary data and store it in a cost-effective manner, keeping it accessible if needed for audits over the 3-year period. Question 5. You need to update a deployment in Deployment Manager without any resource downtime in the deployment. Which command should you use? Option A. Gcloud Deployment Manager deployments create --config. Option B. Gcloud Deployment Manager deployments update --config. Option C, G-Cloud Deployment Manager resources create --config. Option D, G-Cloud Deployment Manager resources update --config. To update an existing deployment in Deployment Manager without causing any resource downtime, you should use the command G-Cloud Deployment Manager Deployments Update, config space. This command updates the deployment using the provided configuration file and applies the necessary changes while ensuring the existing resources remain operational during the update process. That's all for today's video. Don't forget to check out our website where you can find more questions for this exam. The link will be in the description. Thank you for watching and good luck on your exams.